Posted by you. Throw this away 33. AITA for not wanting to invite my 9-year-old nephew to my wedding. My fiancé and I both had a discussion, and both agreed that we don't want my nephew at our wedding, which will be happening in 2 months. The reason why is because my nephew is out of control. He doesn't listen, can't sit still for even a minute, and is loud. My nephew even ruined my dress. I am a fashion designer and made my own wedding dress, and one day my sister came over uninvited with my nephew and niece. I invited them both in but told them all to not go in my office as I'm working on something in there, which was my dress. My nephew goes in there and cuts my dress with a pair of my fabric scissors on purpose while I was in the kitchen getting them some snacks and my niece was playing with my daughter. My sister didn't even make him apologize and blamed it on me for leaving my scissors in the open in a room he wasn't even supposed to be in. There have been many times where my nephew has been banned from events because of his behavior. My sister has a hard time even getting babysitters for him, and my nephew has even gotten suspended from school on multiple occasions. She still hasn't done anything about his behavior. When I told my sister, she freaked out, saying that if her son's not allowed to go then she won't be going, and asked me if I was banning our brother's son as well. She made a Facebook post about how I hate my nephew and I'm not inviting him to my wedding over a dress, and complained to our mom. My mom agrees with my sister and says that it's unfair for me to invite my niece but not my nephew, and that I'm gonna make my nephew feel like there is something wrong with him. My brother agrees with me and thinks it will make my sister think about actually doing something about her son's behavior rather than pretending like there is nothing wrong. I know how my nephew is and I don't want his behavior to risk a day I worked so hard in planning. AITA here? I just wanna apologize ahead of time for my bad English, as English isn't my first language. Now onto some comments. Posted by 90km, NTA. I think you should accept your sister's offer to not attend. Only Ingenuity 7889 responded with, okay, thanks, bye. NTA. Okay. Importance 8523 responded with, and I would respond to her social media posts explaining his age, behavior, and her complete lack of control and discipline of the child. Now onto the next story. Posted by you, throwaway house parent. AITA for renovating my house against my parents' wishes. About 6 months ago, I 27F bought my childhood home from my parents. They both were having trouble getting up the stairs and felt they needed to downsize. They wanted to keep the house in the family since they had bought the house from my mother's grandparents. They were going to originally sell to my younger sister since she's the only one that plans to have kids, and it is a big house, but she was not in the place to buy at the time. My parents have spent a lot of money over the years fixing the house to their tastes, and the house is very beautiful. But me and my mother's tastes are very different. Plus, because my father took so long doing each part of the house himself, there are certain parts of the house that look more outdated than the rest. So, I've been making plans to renovate most of the rooms. The only part of the house that is remaining the same as it is now is the master bedroom. While I had my parents and sister over for dinner last weekend, I told them about what I'd be changing. They all lost it on me, saying that I was destroying the memories we've made in the house. I disagree, since I have the right to make the house my own, and by their logic they shouldn't have changed anything after they bought it from my mother's grandparents. They settled down after that, but a couple days ago I found out that my father had called my contractor and tried to fire him, stating that he was the actual owner of the house. When I called my father about it, he told me he would have never sold to me had I mentioned that I would be changing anything. I've since had to go no contact with most of my family because they won't stop calling to yell at me. Now onto some comments. Posted by Detozi, NTA. It's your house. It's that simple. Doohickey76 responded with, yep, an op already gave them the perfect situation as an example. By their logic, they all should still be living in the house as it was when it was designed and built by OP's great-grandparents. So what, in the 1940s? As it sounds like OP's dad had been remodeling the home for the past 30 years, the dad has zero room to be as butthurt as he is. National Platypus 144 responded with, they think that op is only holding the house for her sister, and she will ask for it at the price op paid if the house prices go up, and lower than that if they go down. Lol, not likely. I would tell them that this house is not their museum, and if they want, they can take photos, but it will be changed or will be burned to the ground if they don't stop harassing op. Now on to the next story. Posted by you. She had a staycation. AITA for refusing to pay for her hotel room? I rent out the spare bedroom in my house for $800 a month, market rate in my area. I don't know my roommate very well, but we work for the same company. I work early mornings, and she works late evenings. So, we're often ships passing in the night. On Friday my hot water heater broke. The home warranty guys said they couldn't get anyone out until Monday morning. It's hot as balls right now, so I wasn't too upset. A few cold showers won't kill anyone. I texted my tenant, hot water is out until Monday, and she responded. I didn't see her all weekend, which is normal, as I said. The guy got here at 8 a.m. to fix the heater. When he was done, I texted her to let her know the hot water was back on. She hits me with this gem. My hotel bill was $250. Do you want to reimburse me now or deduct it from next month's rent? I stared at the text for a good while. I didn't even know she was gone. She got a hotel room just for hot water. That's so extra. She could have showered at work, but she got a hotel room. I texted, hey, I didn't know you left. Rent is still due in full on the 1st of the month, regardless of if you choose to sleep elsewhere for a weekend. She texted me back, there was no water. I couldn't stay there. You're my landlord and have to provide me with livable accommodations. I texted back, there was water, just not hot. If it was winter, you might have a point. Rent is still due in full. Failure to pay rent will result in me filing with the court, which will impact your credit. She stopped responding. I texted a friend who said I was way too harsh and should have just countered with a $50 discount for those 2 days or something. Which, sure, if she'd asked for a $50 reduction that would have been reasonable. But I'm not paying for her hotel and the audacity of her to ask me pisses me off. But I know jumping to talking about filing a 30 days was a bit dramatic. Was ITA? Now on to some comments. Posted by I Am Herding Cats. Not having hot water is what's called a habitability violation. In my state the landlord would owe the tenant a discount in the form of pro-rated rent. In your case that would come to $26.67 per day. The water heater was out of commission, assuming a 30-day month. You need to learn your responsibility as a landlord. She needs to talk to you before expecting reimbursement for a hotel. You both need to learn to communicate. Blackbird Bluebird 17 responded with, in most places, the landlord-tenant laws are very different if the people involved are sharing living space, as opposed to a tenant renting a full home from a landlord who lives elsewhere. OP needs to check their local laws, but in any case, a loss of habitability would be, a tough sell for housing court when it was 2 days, and a repair plan was in place. Warlazy 7979 responded with, wrong. OP was not shirking his responsibility as a landlord. He let his tenant know there was a problem and she sent him a thumbs up. If I were OP, I'd assume this meant, no worries, because that's what a thumbs up usually means. If the tenant decided to go to a hotel and also expected her landlord to foot the bill, she should have discussed that with him. In the middle of a heat wave, a couple of days without hot water is not that big a deal. The tenant should have conveyed her concerns to the landlord if she felt she simply could not have survived a weekend without hot water and discussed the hotel with the landlord before choosing one that costs so much, in relation to the rent. OP does owe the tenant some compensation but not $250.